The next subtest we're going to be going over is matrix reasoning. Now, all you need to administer matrix reasoning is your stimulus book, your administration and scoring manual, and your record form. First, we'll start by just taking a look here and going over our stimulus book. Now, even though we had used this for block design, we can see that there are several subtests that are listed here on the front, including matrix reasoning, which is the one we're going to be going over here. And again, located here on the bottom are a bunch of different tabs that you can use to actually flip directly to the subtest that you're looking to administer. So in this case, we are going to go ahead and start with matrix reasoning. So if we flip that open, you'll notice that we have a blank page here that would be placed in front of the client. And from there, in our administration and scoring manual, excuse me, we would be moving to page 113, which looks like this. And you can see again that we have different start points for, depending on the age of the client in this case. 6 to 8 is they get both sample item A and B and then item 1. Ages 9 to 11 get, again, sample items A and B and then item 5. And then 12 to 16 gets sample items A and B and then to item number 9 in this case. So just some quick notes to remember about matrix reasoning. You have to administer the sample items A and B to every client. These are going to be the first two that you would end up showing here within our booklet. It is pretty essential to point to the visual stimuli, the response options, and the box with the question mark as instructed as you are going through and administering these items. The child in this case, when giving you an answer, can indicate their choice by either pointing to or saying the number of the selected response. If you do have a child that responds with any other type of verbalization, such as like the name of the picture, you are welcome to say "show me" and then score the indicated response. Also, if the child selects multiple response options for an item or self-corrects after his or her initial response, you are to only really score the intended response. And if that is not clear, you can say to the child, "you said," and then point to that child's response, "and you said," and then point to the other response and say, "which one did you mean?" Matrix reasoning, additionally, much like the WISC version, does have a general 30-second guideline rule. And that is that after approximately 30 seconds, you are allowed to prompt the child by saying, "do you have an answer?" While there is no official time limit for this particular subtest, you can and are encouraged to follow that 30-second rule to keep up a timely administration. So what we'll start with is sample item A. And so when you get to this point, you would end up flipping this to the child, and I will show it to you this way so you can kind of see what the child would be seeing. And what you would end up saying to them, and I'm following this directly out of the administration and scoring manual starting on page 114, is you would turn to sample item A and you would say, "look at these pictures. Which one here," and you would point across the bottom row for all 5 responses, and say "goes here," and you would point to the question mark that is there in that box. You would then wait to hear hopefully a correct response, in which case if the child indicated item number 3, which is the correct response, you would say, "that's right. The red circle," and you would point, "is the only answer that works going across," and we would point here to show going across the rows, and going down to show the 2 yellows and then the 2 red circles. If the child gives you an incorrect response, you would follow it by saying, "that's not quite right. The red circle," here for item number 3, "is the only answer that works going across and going down." So again, you're going to be showing the child that they really should be looking at the patterns going across and going down when given this box-shaped stimulus. From there, you would then proceed to sample item B. And here is sample item B, a bit of a different design. And you would again say, which one here, and you would point across the bottoms of the rows, goes here. And you would then wait for the correct response. A correct response in this case would be the child indicating that it's item number 1. And you would say, that's right. The big square, and again, you'd be pointing, should come next in this order. And you would then be showing big square, or I'm sorry, little square, big square, little square, big square, little square. We would need the big square there. If you got an incorrect response from the child, you would say, that's not quite right. The big square, and again, point to item number 1, should come next in order, right? So you would then point across these rows again to show them that the big square is the one that would go there. Either way, whether they get it correct or incorrect, besides indicating that within your record form, you would then proceed to the appropriate start point. Now, the instructions for the remaining items are all of the same. So for items 1 through item 32, which is the very last one, you would be, and I'll just flip to a random one here, you would be showing the child the stimulus, and you would be saying, which one here goes here? And then waiting to hear their response. Once they have indicated a response, you would be taking your record form here, up here at the top for matrix reasoning, and you would be circling the response they gave you. Now, the correct responses are indicated by the dark shaded number. So for example, the one we have here is item number 8. So for item number 8, the correct response, as we can see, if I can get the lighting right, is number 1. So you'd be looking for that number 1 response that the child can either indicate by pointing or by saying the number 1. Again, we could flip to another random one. So we'll flip here to number 12. And you would, again, say to the client, which one here goes here? And then waiting for the correct response. Now, for matrix reasoning, reversal rules do apply, and the discontinuation criteria is 3 consecutive scores of 0. So I hope you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your instructor. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.